Huh?
In a series spanning almost 20 years, it's amazing to see how far Ryuga Gotoku has come. Yet despite all the changes and new mechanics the franchise has seen, Like a Dragon and Yakuza has always had a depth and meaning to its characters and its story. There's a message of honour and connection, friendship and love, and power and destruction. All of these themes have circled the series since the original release, and here they're being worn on both sleeves throughout a huge action RPG. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth marks a turning point with emotional heft at every step, now feeling as though the time to pass the torch might finally be here. There's no denying the latest game in the series is the best the studio has ever made, but it's the scope that floored me. It's also a gorgeous game to look at with so much beauty, colour and detail everywhere you look. The story is as dense and as powerful as The Godfather, filled with intrigue and violence. At times it shocks you with its brutality, but underneath it all is that silliness that stops it from straying into unnecessary territory. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is a masterpiece, and whether you're on board for the ridiculous elements of it or not, it can't be denied how good both the writing and the acting is throughout what feels like both a beginning and an end. Sure, you'll witness stories of a young girl who almost died before getting surgery only to become a doctor, but then there's an enemy that flashes you as a light shines from his groin. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth focuses on Kiryu and Ichiban as they navigate the fallout of the Great Disillusion, where the Omi and Tojo alliances dissolved, leaving thousands of Yakuza to find their own way in the world. Ichiban has a job at Hello Work, a job centre where he intends to help former gangsters find a new life, but it doesn't go to plan and he's thrown to the wolves thanks to the Tatara channel, a mysterious VTuber who fabricates the truth and twists it for views. While leaving his job unexpectedly, he's given a job to head to Hawaii and track down his mother, Akane. All pretty straightforward so far, right? What starts off as a job that won't take too long soon escalates into a hunt to find her across the Pacific, not only by Kasuga, but by every gang of criminals around, like the Barracudas and the thorn in your side known as Yamai. Despite it starting off badly for Kasuga, he soon bumps into an old friend and legend of the series, Kiryu, who takes him under his wing and offers to help him track down Akane. It's weird thinking back to these opening hours, as so much happens in the span of the game that it feels like years ago that I was on the plane to Hawaii. There are so many characters to meet and befriend, countless missions and sub-quests to take part in, your own personal island to run, and a Pokemon-style adventure to go on, with so much more. It's staggering to even think about the amount of activities there are in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, because there's so much that makes great use of your time, and it all opens up at a gradual pace. Even 20 hours or more into it, you'll discover new areas and missions to complete that you couldn't before. Like so many of the Yakuza games before it, you'd think batting, the arcades and the darts were the games that it had to offer, but now you can play a crazy taxi-inspired minigame, take photos of flashers while riding an on-rails tram, go swimming and pick up litter from the ocean, date via a Tinder-like app, go to university and complete tests, make friends on social media, and ride around on your own personal Segway that can be customised and charged for endless use. Of course, there's stuff I haven't mentioned as I don't want to ruin everything, but the two biggest time sinks, and perhaps the most fun, are running your own island and catching Sujimon. The latter returns from Like a Dragon, except the concept is so much more fleshed out and addictive. You take part in battles, try to catch weird and wonderful fighters, buy gacha balls to unlock new ones, and then fight bosses to climb the rankings. Playing these fights alone can take up hours of your time, and thanks to RGG's pacing, you never feel rushed into completing the story. If anything, the hundreds of hours available to you are yours to play exactly how you want. Another big addition to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is Dondo Island, a whole game within a game where you manage an island. It's surprisingly deep and is obviously a play on what the likes of Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley have done, but it's fun nonetheless. Keep the island clean, catch bugs and collect flora, upgrade, craft and expand both the island and the home, and then invite villagers to come and live there. You can find new villagers to come and visit from around Hawaii, but RGG has also thrown in some pretty cool surprises for fans of the series, and having certain icons appear there is great. There's plenty of opportunities to customise everything on your island, giving it your own personal flair, and when you're ready to head back, just jump on a dolphin and they'll take you there. Needless to say, I spent far too long decorating my house just because Kasuga deserves a fancy island retreat after all the bad luck he keeps on having. One thing you'll do more than anything else is fight. Whether part of a mission or running around the streets of Hawaii, there's just a bunch of enemies for you to fight. Each character in your party has their job, and with it a set of moves and skills that can be playfully integrated into your team's tactics. While each character has a set job, new ones can be unlocked through building your personality traits, allowing you to switch out any of them at the available holiday spots. There's samurai, idol, detective and aquanaut, just a few of them, each all have their own benefits. The more successful you are in combat, the more skills on the job line you unlock, and at level 30 you're going to be initiating some pretty badass moves. There's always a balance of knowing when to attack or buff your party's defense or attack or just go after the enemy, and if you remember the last game you'll have a good idea of how this works, but diving in and experimenting never gets boring. Your standard attacks can be chained with others if enemies are knocked into their line of attack, and you can also knock enemies into each other to do damage to more than one, hurt them with more than an attack from behind, or by hitting them into a wall. Certain enemy types have elemental weaknesses like fire, electricity and gun damage, so knowing what characters in your party can be utilised for most DPS is addictive. Combat is exceptional on Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and I never got fed up with it. Even halfway through, new mechanics were unlocking, with one blowing my mind at just how cool it was. The higher level you are, the harder fights become, but there's always an option to bypass easier fights by using Smackdown and insta-kill the enemy. Gangs are always running up to you, so this is a great feature when wasting your time on them in a full-scale battle would lead to little XP. Weird-looking enemies are back as well, with some absolutely wacky choices. Guys in swimming trunks with inflatables that writhe around on you to do damage, metalheads that try to stun you while playing guitar, dudes wearing advertisement boards and punk rockers, stoners, cult members and perverts. This game has everything. Some of the boss fights are ridiculous as well, like one against a giant shark, though that's far from the only strange fight. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is about as bonkers as you'd expect, but every fight I had was one I'll never forget. In the latter stages, some of the fights are ridiculous, but the satisfaction of victory only increases as you head towards the dying moments of the journey. One of the key themes in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is friendship, and you'll spend a heck of a lot of time with them. You can form connections with them over a drink or chat to them as you travel around the city and buy them gifts to help increase that bond. These bonds can also be improved in battle, and however you choose to do it, there are a wealth of benefits to aid you while fighting, such as exclusive team moves that can do significant damage. While building bonds certainly improves your party's synergy, it's also something that you want to do. I cared so deeply about my friends just as I did about Kasuga and Kiryu. Each have their own hobbies and loves, hopes and fears, and learning about them makes those tense moments in the story mean something. Nanba, Adachi and Seiko all return from Like a Dragon, but there are new characters like Tommy and Chitose that all make a big impact and impression upon you. People will have their favourites, but honestly, I die for Nanba, and it's not even close. Even the villains are fascinating, and some are revealed in spectacular fashion. You never know who to trust, and you'd think by now I would have learned. But I love these characters deeply, although it is the two protagonists where the writing is at its strongest. Ichiban is similar to Kiryu in so many ways. I often think that if the Dragon of Dojima was able to shed the stoicism and let go, you'd find an identical version of Kasuga inside of him. He does anything he can for those who loves, and even when others can't see past the wrongs someone's committed, Kasuga will. He loves living and he loves life. He's filled with passion and kindness, and it's so hard not to adore him. Kiryu has a very different journey in Infinite Wealth, at least on a personal level, but that's the same fiercely loyal and strong human being that you've always known. There's never been a better character in gaming as him for me, and RGG has managed to honour his legacy with some of the best segments the series has ever seen. It's emotional, tense, and has some incredibly moving scenes. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is the greatest the series has ever been, and despite those action-oriented games that set RGG on its developmental path, having a turn-based RPG with minor action elements was the big change with the first title, and going one step further and making it even more fun and addictive was the right decision. You can still explore and do tons of activities while uncovering a deep story filled with twists, turns and emotional beats. But it feels entirely new at times, especially with everything the developer has added. There's nothing I'd change about this game, and it improves on what's come before it and features a story worth investing your time in. Infinite Wealth is a masterpiece, and that's why we're giving it a 10 out of 10. Hey, Adam from GodIsAGeek.com here. Thanks for watching Chris White's video review of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I've played this through to credits as well, and I agree with everything he says. It's the best in the series. It's just, yeah, it's a really special game. If you enjoyed this video, do click the subscribe button and the bell button so you don't miss any future content. And other than that, let us know if you're excited about this one in the comments, because it's still a series that not everyone has played, although Game Pass has helped a lot of people get used to it. So, let us know in the comments if you're excited. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.